evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Koscki. Once again, this is the Dr. Subconscious Show, and we have an action-packed show for you tonight. First off, I just want to welcome everybody to the show and let them know that it's going to be a very, very Merry Christmas, because we are celebrating the end of the Mayan calendar. And you may or may not recall, but one of the first shows that I did 9 months ago was about 5 signs of the end of the world. And it's kind of interesting because there's a lot of great stuff that was included in that show as far as web bots and stuff like that. And what's really interesting is how mainstream media has altered the meaning of the end of the Mayan calendar. We're going to talk specifically about that. But before we do, I want to talk about my last show and the time span that's happened in between here and there. First off, what happened here in Norco, California, Southern California, in the IE, Inland Empire, is we had 10 weeks of extreme heat, and that shut down the computers in the studio here. So that was the beginning of it. The last show that I did was Orgasms and Hypnosis, which has hit over 1,000 views, which for me, that's one of my best, probably twice as good as anything I've done. And I promise I'm going to give a live demo, or at least a demo of how it all works, because that was one of the big requests on the blog. So I will get back to that. In the meantime, some of the other things that are working, we can talk about those. And people are starting to talk about the Dr. Subconscious Show. I hear it a lot, and they also bring up the Koscki Dangerous, which is the band that I belong in, kind of created and write for and sing and perform for, is on its way back. And so those are really good things, and we're going to talk about all of that. But more specifically, let's get into the end of the Mayan calendar and what does it all mean and the effects that it's having on us. Okay. So, first off, I wanted to let everybody know that the Mayan calendar is not the end of the world. It is the end of a 2,000-year cycle, which is amazing. Okay? And it can be represented on a sine wave, okay, over 2,000 years ago. Alright? So you can kind of see that 2,000 years ago, that the world, or human consciousness, has gone through a tremendous amount of struggle, okay? And we are here, all right? And this center line here is what we call the planetary alignment. And of course, that was one of the things I talked about in one of my very first shows. And so you can kind of see this is planetary alignment, the PA line, and that's what you have to have a sine wave, all right? You got to have a place where you can look at it and say, hey, what does all this mean? Okay, so we are now on the upswing of this sine wave. You can kind of see. And what does that mean? That means that we are going to be entering into an era of prosperity. Why did the Mayan calendar run out? Well, you got to remember, the Mayans, they were star readers. They were scientists. They were calculators. They were number grabbers. So, you know, how's that going to affect everything? And what does that mean as far as entering into the age of Aquarius? We're going to get into that in just a couple of seconds. Okay, but what I want to talk about right now is how mainstream media has taken the end of the world, or the end of the Mayan calendar, and interpreted it as the end of the world. And it truly is the exact opposite. And there's lots and lots of data on the web and documentaries that I specialize in, and people bringing up scientists that are very aware of what's going on out there. It is true that the mystics do say that human consciousness on the planet Earth has a long way to go. If you look at it K through 12, as far as human consciousness and how we relate to, let's say, our Creator, we're still in preschool. We got a long way to go. But entering into the age of Aquarius is fascinating and great and very fortunate. Okay. Mayan calendar and predictions of the end of the world. Is the world going to end? You bet it's going to end. Everything does. Within our lifetime? No. No. It's just not there. If it were, the psychics and mystics could pick up on it. They would see it. They would know. And if you get enough of them to say it's not going to happen or it is going to happen, then you could, start stockpiling food. But I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to happen. Not in our lifetime. Case in point, year 2000 Millennium, all the computers are supposed to crash. Did anything crash? Was there any airplanes that dropped out of the sky? Flu epidemics. You see that happening? Nope, not happening. Anthrax scare. Nope, not happening. More media push. Remember, and this is my specialty, alright, PR, another word for PR is propaganda, or a book of lies. Alright? And I admit it, I got sucked into it a little bit. I thought it was fascinating to look at the 5 signs, global tilt, webbot, stuff like that, planetary alignment. Hey, it all looked good. And to tell you the truth, planetary alignment was one of the things that I was most leery about. So, and now I find out it's actually a good thing. Whew, cool. Alright, so what else we got here? When we start talking about the sine wave, what's going on here? We're entering into prosperity. So what happened over here? This is war, famine, all the negative stuff that happens to the human consciousness. Alright, well that's over. Alright? So that's cool. Okay, and what does it mean? Well, human consciousness is basically described as organized principle. Right? The main theme of what we should or need to be talking about. That's what I would consider human consciousness. It's the goal. It's the unwritten law. It's what everybody who is fortunate enough to come to the party realizes. And it doesn't mean that you would get it in church or in religion. It is a spiritual conquest, a spiritual experience that anyone, whether you're a native in the middle of the jungle or an executive on Wall Street, it's for everyone. Okay? Human consciousness. Keep an eye on it. Alright. So, Age of Aquarius. Boom. Why is that negative? And I came across the Age of Aquarius years and years ago on my research. I'm constantly doing research, writing books, coming across stuff. I'm always in search of. In fact, the 2 years, or at least the last 12 months that I've been living in Norco, that's all I've done. I've had tons and tons of free time with a bad economy, and I have spent so much time doing documentary research and the use of YouTube. It's been brilliant, been great, fascinating, fortunate. Alright, so all that's cool. So, but unfortunately, some of the things I've come across is the Age of Aquarius means that the idealists will be in charge, and that is not good. Here in America, United States, we constantly separate church from state. And it's really, really important because not everybody's into church, and not all churches are the same. So, are we ever going to get there? I don't think so. It's just not. Maybe in another 20,000 years, maybe we can take a step forward in that direction. But it's best we just keep it out, keep the idealists. And I'll be honest with you, I'm an idealist. Okay, my father was an idealist. He, for heaven's sakes, he was a monk before he married my mom, and was up to be appointed deacon of the church before he passed. So he was a very spiritual man. A great, great leader, but not the head of state. No, professional leaders, they're different. Alright? Alright, so, let's see what else we got here. When you put idealists in charge, you get a lot of holy wars. And you don't want that. People kill each other in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of God, in the name of their religion, for all kinds of reasons. So, don't do it, don't believe in it, don't hang out there. Alright, let's see. What are some of the good things, the effects that it's had on my life? Again, we're looking at this sine wave, and even though the economy has been really, really, really tough in the horse business, alright, we're starting to see an upswing, which means we're going to have less war, less famine, less destruction. People are finally going to get it. Okay, what we've been waiting for as motivational speakers and people who try to think outside the box. It's finally here. It's finally here. The next 2,000 years is going to be rocking. So get with it. Some of the positive things that have happened to me this year. I got to work a regional campaign year 2012. My buddy, Wild Bill in Central State of California, a Republican. Unfortunately, he lost, but he went in to the campaign at night with 4,000 votes ahead of his competitor. And we had a big shake-up here in America. A lot of people were complaining about unemployment, blah, 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 but Obama wins out, which is fine. It's okay. It's unfortunate my buddy did not, but that simply means he gets to go on with his life and do some other great things, and he can always get back into politics. He's going to have to change his agenda a little bit, but that's all right. All right, a couple other things that I've learned in my research over the last 12 months here in Norco is 101 ways to find work, and I'm going to come back to that and do a show completely on how to find work and show you. I'm right now on the verge of getting this new job launched. This new, what would you call it? That's my bird over there. American falcon. A new experience, a new job, a source of income. All right, it's about ready to take off. Number 3 positive things that have happened in the last 12 months. Koscki Dangerous, my band, and my writing and mixing and production and music is on the comeback. I've got to do a lot of shows, got invited out to do shows. I'm starting to mix up with some musicians of my caliber, and so it's going to see another day on this planet, and that's really, really fortunate. Establishing relationships with old friends to heal over long-term issues. Fabulous thing is happening right now. It's great. Horse business is on the rise with Western dressage. Western dressage, I never thought I would add it to my repertoire. Here I go. And Norco has been a huge help in extending my horsemanship knowledge base. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thanks a bunch for hanging out with me. The last program was over 1,000 hits. It wasn't very well produced, but the information, I guess, was good enough. And we're going to come back with a follow-up. We're going to come back with a follow-up with the propaganda that we see from this show, and how to find work, which I know everybody's going to be interested in finding out. My name is John Koscki. This is the Dr. Subconscious Show. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you on the flip-flop.